comes here to the Chuckles. I'm in danger. 250 can possibly go to the outside. He does go to the outside of Ricky Harden. Tries a slide draft him. Harden goes up the track. Now back down to the bottom. Gets a huge push from Tommy Ryan at the start finish. It's going to be Thomas George.
Running the high line, trying to make that pass.
Loose off turn 4.
In the grass goes the 6 car, and they were side by side, 2 by 2 here.
Scott Eckler winning the last race of the season and the championship.
Jeff Ford definitely getting the championship for season 2.
Give it up for Thomas George, winning the race and the championship. George overshoots the corner. Scott puts that car just where he needs to on the middle. It's going to be a drag race through the kink. A single caution for the stage end last week at Bristol gave some well-deserved rest from all the cautions the week before in Richmond as Scott Eckridge took the checkered flag, grabbing his 4th in a row. In the modern era, nobody has won more races consecutively. Drivers like Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson, and Kyle Larson, the most in recent history, have all stopped at their 4th win in a row. If you remember, Kyle Larson blew his right front leading in the last lap at Pocono in 2021, teammate Alex Bowman took home the victory. Last year in this race, Thomas George and Adam Jersky dominated the event, with Michael Krobach taking home with the checkered flag in the fall. Grab yourself a hot dog and a pop. It's time for the Wall Riders Rejoice 200, presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. You can see some of the weather information on your screen. 78 degrees Fahrenheit, 55% humidity. Austin Belkey, J.R. Shepard, Kenny Kibbe in the booth with you tonight. And as always, we have director Ryan Seneker in the production trailer. JR, what can you tell us about the paperclip?
Well, Austin, Martinsville Speedway is the only remaining track from the original 1948 Cup Series schedule. It is often referred to as the paperclip because of its tight radius corners and long straights. This place is just over a half-mile in length with corners that are only banked at 12 degrees. However, this place feels completely flat when you're racing on it. Tonight, the drivers are going to be fighting for that inside group for the majority of the race. That is where the best grip is once the tire temps and pressures come up, but you can make that outside work on restarts when everybody is side by side. I expect that to come into play big time here tonight. Last year we had 28 cautions in race 1 and 14 cautions in race 2. You can expect these drivers to be very aggressive on every single one of those restarts because that is the easiest time to make some passes. But Austin, this place is also known as the half mile of mayhem. The only question is which driver will take control of that mayhem and win here tonight.
Great questions, JR. Unfortunately, the pole sitter for tonight is Joe Branch. I don't see him sitting in the Discord where we can drag him in here. So without further ado, we'll go ahead and give you folks at home Kenny's keys to victory.
Yeah, guys, so tonight we have a 200-lap race, a relatively short race, honestly, at Martinsville. Normally it would be 250 if it was a 500-lapper. In the real event, 7 sets of tires, 6 changes available to these drivers, but I don't think they will be all used tonight. We'll get to that later. A 75% fuel load, as always, leads to 120 laps about on a tank of gas, which will get you to beyond halfway, which will be what the drivers will be aiming for to make that one important pit stop. The keys to the race tonight: avoiding brake lockups. Really easy to lock up the fronts, even with full-blown rear brake bias on these cars, I've noticed. So brake lockups will be definitely a problem. Carry momentum off the corner. That's always a storyline at Martinsville. Rolling the center, getting good exit speed, nice and straight off the corners. That's what you want. Remember, you got to go up through at least one gear, at least the majority of the laps today. So be watching out for exit speeds, because that's how you set up your passes. And lastly, pit strategy. Not a whole lot of tire fall off. And the feeling of the car really doesn't change much throughout a run. So when you decide to make that one pit stop, or if you decide to make it into multiple, is really going to potentially flip-flop the field. And track position is so key here at Martinsville, especially with these new cars. You might see drivers stay out a lot longer than you might normally expect.
Yeah, and 7 sets of tires, Kenny. That's going to give these guys a lot of opportunities to sort of differentiate themselves from one another in terms of strategy. On the pole, winning the Mahan Speed Laboratories, you finished last pole award for tonight with the Joe Branch no showing. He would have been on pole. Brian Greenlee lines up just behind the pace car. He's going to have Ryan Rose to his outside. Creighton Carter's going to line up in the third position with Aiden Gretz in fourth. Clarence Bonner in fifth, and D. D'Ambiosi in sixth. Just behind her in seventh is Brian Yazik. Alongside him is Cy Ferris, who starts in eighth. Jason Galvin and Vincent Crow going to round out the top 10 with Michael Krobach defending winner at this racetrack from last fall in 11th, followed by Woody Mahan, sponsor of the Mahan Speed Laboratories. You finished last pole award in 12th with Mike Rasmus in 13th, Jake Sylvia in 14th, and of course last week's winner Scott Eckridge in 15th. JR.
Yeah, starting 16th tonight, we have Cody Dempster. Starting 17th, Jordan Harnish. Alongside him in 18th will be Chris Stouffer. Starting in 19th is Doug Roth in the 43 car. Alongside him in 20th is Isaiah Dupre. 21st place tonight is Joshua O'Connor. 22nd place, is Alex Gretz. Starting 23rd is Shane Parrish. Alongside him in 24th will be Mark Herzog. Row 13, we have Ron Hart and Pete Baskins. Starting 27th is Tyler Graff, and our last two champions in the PGRL series is Jeff Ward, starting 28th, and Thomas George rounding out the field in 29th. He won the first race here last year, guys.
Thank you, JR. For those of you at home kind of curious how this field goes ahead and grids up their drivers, it's a complete inversion week over week. So if you finish last and the week before, you're going to line up on pole for this week. And then once you go through all those drivers, it's the drivers who didn't race last week and are racing this week. And then to round out the field completely is the last two defending series champions. And of course, for right now, that's still Jeff Ward and Thomas George. iRacing pace car brings the field down the back straightaway. Its lights are out, so we will be going green this time by. It's going to make the sharp left turn down pit road. There it goes. Brian Greenlee has a long time before he's able to put his foot down here as they come off at turn 4. We'll get the green flag here. Just like that, it's going to happen. We've got 29 cars here, rip roaring, ready to go around the paperclip. Martinsville Speedway, West Virginia.
Yeah, and already, Austin, you can see these drivers fighting to get to the bottom of the track. They know that's where the most grip is. They're trying to get in line early so they do not get freight trained.
See Brian Greenlee still out front. He's going to lead the first lap here in the Wall Riders of Joyce 200 presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. Just in time, we have our first caution of the night. So far, we're 1 for 1.
Yeah, we'll take a look at the replay here. I believe Clarence Bonner, he got loose in that 99 car coming off of turn 4. Tried to save it, but these cars are just so twitchy. And here it is on the screen. Yep, just got a little bit loose. Tried to catch it, but the car overcorrected into the outside wall and unfortunately collected Brian Yazik a little bit. Yeah, poor Brian Yazik there, just an innocent bystander in that situation. Shout out, though, to Clarence Bonner. That's a new paint scheme on that 99 car. Usually he runs sort of a throwback look with that number 99. It's Aaron Dream Machine from the early 2000s. Switching it up a little bit today with a Main Intel sponsored car. And, of course, the first caution of the day gives us a great opportunity to take a look at the point situation here. Scott Eckridge, of course, coming off 4 back-to-back wins, hasn't missed a race yet this season. He is your championship points leader, 50 whole points clear of Michael Krobach in the second position. Mike Rasmus showing why we gave him that nickname, rounding out the podium spots in the points championship overall, Mr. Consistency. And then Vincent Crow, points leader until about the 4th or 5th race into the season. He missed a couple races and has had some lackluster runs as of late. Puts him in the 4th spot. Adam Piersky won at Phoenix. Strong season for him so far, JR. Yeah, absolutely. And a guy that's been on the charge the last couple of weeks is Jake Sylvia. He's in 6th place in points, continuing to look to add to his points total so far. Thomas George has had a little bit of a rough go at it, but like we said, he won here last year in the first race. He's in 7th place in points. Cosmin Yawanishu, he's in 8th. Brian Yazik, who we just saw run into a little bit of trouble, looks like he's at least going to go a lap down trying to get that fixed, guys, so he may take a hit today. And Jeff Ward is still in 10th place in points, but looking to rebound with his season.
Yeah, certainly saw a lot of guys in the Discord this past week talking about the detriment it does to a driver's season overall, having to start every single one of these races in the last 2 spots. If we go down one more page and take a look at the drivers in 11th through 20th place in points, you got guys like your Cody Dempsters, your Woody Mahan. Woody Mahan's actually been up the charge as well. He was as low as 16th just a couple weeks ago, so he's certainly turning this season around as time goes on. Strong outing last time out. He was a lot faster than normally you'd expect him to be. So good to see Woody doing those races and having these kind of runs like this. He's one of those guys, very consistent, very fast guy. He just needs to connect all the dots in a race, and he'll get on the podium just the same as he did, I think, in Las Vegas last year. He had himself a really good run. Got your Cy Ferris there in 17th position. Isaiah Dupre back there in 19th. And as we keep rolling down in the championship standings, 21st through 30th on your screen. Next, you'll see the rest of the field. You got your Kevin Bartelt. He's the sponsor of the race tonight, Octane 93 on twitch.tv. Go ahead and check him out if you have the opportunity. Usually he's got some pretty funny streams. Clarence Bonner there, he's the driver that brought out our first caution. He's been around that 99 car. You'll see the rest of the points kind of go through your screen in the next couple of minutes. We've got about 75% of a lap left here under caution before we get ready to take the green flag for the second time here tonight. So far, the cautions to hot dog counter at 1. iRacing pace car back down pit road. Puts the field in the command of Brian Greenlee once again. Pretty strong start for him. Cy Ferris, though, doing really well to stay up on his outside. Hopefully for his sake, he's able to tuck down in line. He does just that before Creighton Carter able to get his nose to the inside.
Yeah, and that right there is an advantage to being the second place car on restart. You're usually able to get a good enough start that you can get a hole by the time you get into 1 and 2 and get back in line.
How about Dee D'Ambiose? She's in the 3rd position right now. Hold on to that last podium position. See the 83 car, Vincent Crowe, trying to make a move around the outside. I think he's going to have a pretty difficult time pulling that off, though, Kenny.
Yeah, it sure is difficult to pass the bottom line. Oh, because we have a car out of shape there.
Yeah, it was Vincent Crowe. Stuffed it up there on the high side, trying to pass Dee D'Ambiose up top, and just lost grip on the rear axle.
Yeah, I've actually seen more of the plowing type of corner entries rather than the rear end coming around like that. But it can still happen. And one thing is for sure is that if you miss the concrete at all, the banking goes away, and you just really lose all grip, and the corner's pretty much toast. Well, as we have a stack up in turn 2, another car got sideways. That was Ron Hart, and he's still sideways down the backstretch, and he's wrecking. This is going to be a big one.
Oh, yep, that's at least 10 cars. Oh, they're wrecking in front of him, too. I think that was the 57 car, Mark Herzog. Doug Roth was in there as well. There's a lot of cars involved in that. A lot of fast guys. And Ron Hart just disconnected out of the race. So, unfortunately, that's going to be the end of his night.
Yeah, first he was in a 3-wide situation going down into turn 1. And ended up getting just touched by Doug Roth. And Roth actually checked up for him, let him save the car. And this is what happened afterwards. Spinning out there, you see Mark Herzog unable to get by it. The 98 kind of stacking in. Some of these drivers didn't get slowed down.
Yeah, and Kenny, I want to bring you into this because you've ran these cars more than I have. Talk about that vulnerability that these cars have up off the corner, especially when you're in 3rd gear. You can feel like you have a lot of grip, but it seems like it goes away quick.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird sensation. A lot of drivers every lap will be using 3rd gear and then shifting up to 4th. It's definitely the fastest way around, but the problem is 3rd gear is really sketchy on the rear tires coming off the corner, and really easy to just kind of lose it. And I guarantee you that the 51 already had limited grip off of turn 2 because he heated up those tires going through turn 2 with that slide. So he's trying to get up to speed as quickly as possible and just kept spinning the tires, and really needed to just kind of settle, stay off the gas, and kind of pull down to the bottom and get out of the way of the whole pack. But I'm sure with half of the field bearing down on him, he wanted to get going.
Ryan Yazik taking the lucky dog here, so he'll get one of his 2 laps back. Right now he's only scored 1 lap down. So far he's the first car 1 lap down, so if things continue to go his way, no other drivers come out in front of him from the pits, he'll continue to be in that lucky dog position. Only one more caution for him, and he'll see himself back on the lead lap again. I got to say, that's probably the luckiest break for Brian Yazik that could have happened this early in the race.
Well, and the other thing too here, guys, is these cars are very tough. You can take a lot of damage with them, but if you decide you want to do damage repair, it's very difficult here. You can really only get about 15-ish seconds of damage repair per pit stop. So you get about 5 minutes of optional repairs, which is not not a very far-fetched number. It's hard to get that damage done.
I'd like to take a quick moment here to see the cars now lining up 2 by 2, Trailer Park Girl style. To thank our sponsor, Octane 93. I'm reading it off the script here. He's the world's worst streamer ever. Check him out on Twitch if you're into watching tryhards race pixel cars, seeing how many kids you can have, or demolishing pretend semi-trucks. Octane 93, disappointing tens of viewers most days of the week, and you can check him out on twitch.tv/Octane93. At Green Flag Racing here, Brian Greenlee puts his foot on the loud pedal. Oh, they're checking up. Saif Ferris didn't get quite going how he wanted to. They're 3 wide heading down into turn 1. Jake Sylvia takes advantage of D. D'Ambiose. It was split as well. Creighton Carter on the high side.
Yeah, Dee did a great job there. That could have been really bad. She got taken 3 wide late going into the corner, and she avoided contact, so very good job by her there.
So out front, Brian Greenlee, then Saif Ferris, and then Jake Sylvia, as we have another caution.
Yeah, I saw this one live, guys. It was towards the back. It was Chris Stouffer in the 7 car was at the catalyst for this one. He just, again, another self-spin. And talking before the show, guys, I was saying that this could be a common issue. To take a look at the replay, not exactly this isn't where it started, but this might be where it ended. There you go, Stouffer right there, spins, clips another car, and then gets T-boned. It's just, you got to be patient with these cars coming off of the corners, even on the long run, but especially on the restarts when the tires are cold. You know, it didn't help there that the 7 was way up out of the groove. I talked about just a little bit ago how the grip is very limited. And JR, you know what it's like if you miss the corner and you kind of have to wrap the corner out of the groove. It's a very uncomfortable feeling up there.
Yeah, it absolutely is. The car does not give you much feel at all through the steering wheel of what it's doing. And you tend to get that push loose condition that we saw there. And, you know, that's one of the biggest things that I think drivers are going to be struggling with here tonight is that lack of feeling that you get in this new generation car. There's just, it's just an odd feeling with the rack and pinion steering. You do not get the feedback that you were accustomed with the older generation car. And at a place like Martinsville, this is a place where you need to be able to feel what the car is doing in order to react and drive it appropriately, and I think that a lot of guys are going to continue to struggle here tonight with that.
Guys, what'd you say we take the opportunity to dial up our race leader here? Didn't get a chance to talk to him, ended up winning the Mahan Speed Laboratories. You finished, I'll say, second to last pole award. Brian, so far so good. You're still in the lead of this race, 21 laps down, man.
Yeah, 10-4 on that. We're happy to be up here in the Penguin RC car. We're a little bit nervous. Not used to being up here seeing this view, but we're going to give it everything we got.
Well, so far it's the best view you can have. Absolutely nothing out the windshield except occasionally maybe some smoke from a past wreck and the caution car. You've been the first car behind him, though, so still all good on that front. People either love or hate racing here, buddy. You like Martinsville? You're maybe not so much a fan.
I'm going to be honest, it's new for me. I'm not a big fan of short track racing. I historically don't have very much luck at short tracks, but like you guys said, it's nice to be out here with nobody in front of me. It's a big relief.
I'll be interested to hear if I get to talk to you after the race how much more you like Martinsville if you're able to hold on to take home the checkered flag. But Martinsville, as we always talk about, the hot dog is a staple of this track. If you're going to prepare the perfect hot dog for yourself, what's it got on it? Ketchup, mustard, relish?
I'm gonna go a little different, guys. We gotta have chili, we gotta have cheese, and we gotta have onions. That's where we're at.
My man right there. I appreciate that. Well, Brian, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I'll go ahead and send you back down to old LPM, man. Good luck.
Thanks, guys. Good luck. Hope we see you at the end.
That was Brian Greenlee. We'll send him back to where we pulled him from, and that was, I'll be honest, that kind of a surprise. There's another, if you're going to make a hot dog, better have some chili and cheese on there. Wrap up the end of caution period number 3 on lap 23. Brian Greenlee still in the lead. iRacing pace car heads down pit road. The entire pack behind him getting more and more rowdy every single time we have one of these caution flags. Brian Greenlee going to send the car into turn 1, still has the lead. A little bit of a door check there from Scythe Ferris. Jake Sylvia getting down to his inside. We'll see if he can hold it.
Yeah, Jake is driving hard. You can see that car wiggling up off the corner, struggling for grip on corner exit, but he is going to take the lead here. Brian gets loose off of turn 4, and Safe Ferris goes into the inside wall.
Yeah, surprisingly, no caution just yet. They're 3 wide behind him there for 7th position. Scott Eckridge has already made his way up into, what is that, 8th or so for right now. Big lead for Jake Sylvia. Brian Greenlee currently still in that 2nd position. Creighton Carter right now rounding out the podium spots.
Yeah, the top 3 are single filed out at the moment. Looks like Dee Dambiozzi, she's got her hands full with Vincent Crowe trying to make up some ground where he got loose early in the race.
Yeah, just behind there, Dee Dambiozzi is the Michael Krobach machine. He was the winner here last time we came in the fall. Doing a pretty good job today. Made himself a lot of positions up earlier in the going, but he's going to have to see if he can't get to the outside to maybe get around that 50 car, Dee Dambiozzi.
Yeah, definitely. Dee's not got the fastest car tonight, but she is doing a great job running her line. She's not doing anything wrong at all and forcing these other drivers to take her on the high side. That's a good maneuver here.
Yeah, Jake Sylvia continues to pull away. I'm kind of curious, though, guys. Is Dee Dambiozzi maybe saving her tires just a little bit this early on into the run?
You know, it's always possible. The only bad thing with that is that tires are not a huge contributing factor in the races here. Track position is usually what you're going to go for, and that's something that we could see come into play with the strategy because we're only going to have to make one pit stop for fuel, so we'll see what some of these drivers do as we get further into this race, but definitely track position is key here.
Jake Sylvia now currently has a just over 2.5 second lead over Brian Greenlee in the 2nd spot, slowly approaching that 3-second marker. Creighton Carter still holds on to the podium position. Scott Eckridge looks to be taking away the 4th spot right now from Cody Dempster. Gave him a little bit of a hip check as they came out of turn 2. I think Scott just catching him a lot faster than he thought he would.
And I'll tell you, Austin, one thing that scared me about Scott tonight is that he did not run hardly any long runs. I think he only ran like a 4 or 5 lap run as his longest run. That means he is extremely confident in what he has here tonight. He's going to be fast.
Well, Scott Eckridge has been really good at these racetracks where you have to do a lot of braking, and trail braking especially, JR. Talk about the viewers at home and the similarities you see in road course braking style to what you experience here, and it's the reason we saw so many road course racing guys like your AJ Allmendinger or your, whoa, a little bit of a spin there, Creighton Carter off the front end of Scott Eckridge. He goes straight into the outside wall. Caution flag comes out.
We'll get a replay to relook at this one, but definitely Scott was trying to attack coming up out of the corner there, and I stepped away just a little bit from the screen, but we'll see here. Definitely a little bit of a contact there. I think Scott just kind of letting him know he was there and backed off so he didn't get into the 89, and I think the 89 just anticipated Scott falling in behind him there, so contacts into the 89 into the outside wall.
Yeah, a little bit of a kind of weird late-looking move there, but it is what it is, I guess.
Yeah, I think Scott figured he was close enough to make a lunge into the corner, and Creighton went down as if he was able to take the corner on his own. So just two different agendas there, and they were disagreeing on the radio as well.
Yeah, they're certainly into a run. I feel like if the guy behind you is that much faster, maybe you just kind of let him go on down to the inside. Maybe you can follow him around, learn something as the race goes on. This is our fourth caution period of the day. We're going to take this opportunity to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back after this. Maybe go grab yourself a hot dog.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back. We're here in Almost Heaven, Martinsville Speedway for the Wall Riders Rejoice 200 presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. And again, straight from the script, guys, Octane 93 is the world's worst streamer ever. Check him out on Twitch if you're into watching tryhards race pixel cars, seeing how many kids you can have, or demolishing pretend semi-trucks. Octane 93 disappointing tens of viewers most days of the week, and it's obvious, guys, Kevin Bartelt going with the old under-promise and under-deliver approach, it seems like, as we get ready to head back to Green Flag Racing after just wrapping up our fourth caution period of the night. It'll be the first time that Jake Sylvia gets to restart one of these Green Flag areas. He's going to wait a long time after they come off turn 4, and Scott Eckridge is going to rip through the gears very fast. He's going to get down to the inside of our old leader of the race, Brian Greenlee, and now Greenlee's going to have Cody Dempster to his inside. Make that as well. Mike Rasmussen, the 68 machine.
Yeah, definitely Brian Greenlee in that 38 car. He is going backwards because he is stuck on that outside lane. You can see the guys so much faster on that inside line. And it'll slow you down even further, guys, the higher you get into that corner. It looks like he's just running a little bit too high there.
Yeah, he's got Michael Krobach down into his inside right now. Those two cars racing for the 6th and 7th position. Oh, he gets tipped a little bit by Jeff Ward. They're spinning behind him. Doug Roth and Jordan Harnish. Caution flag out.
We actually had a lot going on here. This was the incident. Doug Roth ended up with the worst of it. He ends up getting spun out completely there. And we actually also had a stack up on the initial start. I think it was Alex Gretz ended up getting spun around near the back of the field on the initial start. And we also had Vincent Crow going through for a pass-through penalty. And I'm not sure. I saw him down pit lane, so I think that he served the penalty. But there's the stack up, and then I think that was some frustration boiling over for the last point there. But luckily for Gretz, he's able to catch back up to the field and not lose a lap.
Yeah, and he had his chat disabled, so it looks like he might have been talking a little bit too much smack over the in-car radio.
Yeah, there's been a few drivers talking some smack already, and we're only at lap 42, so it's short track tempers for sure. And we have a decent amount of drivers pitting right now. Got about 7 of them, 7 lead lap cars coming down, and we remember that pit strategy is going to be all over the place, and a lot of these drivers have actually already pitted for presumably damage repair. So none of the leaders have chosen to pit yet.
Yeah, we'll have to see who is the first of these drivers to pit. I mean, we're only 43 laps into the race here. We only have to make one stop for fuel, Kenny. So at this point, with all the cautions, I don't really expect these guys to come down pit road until what, like lap 150 or something?
Yeah, I mean, you'll certainly see. I really have a feeling that once we get past that lap 100, where everybody knows that that's kind of the point that they can make it to, then you'll start to see an influx of pit stops. You might even see some drivers come in early, like if we get a caution around like lap 80. But there'd be a little more of a stretch for fuel. You'll kind of be planning on getting some more caution laps, but I don't think that'll be a problem.
Well, we're here under our 5th caution of the day. Why don't we take our 2nd commercial break, and maybe we can rile up somebody to talk to underneath the next caution flag. We'll be right back. Go get yourself another hot dog. It'll be 5 this time. Back to green flag racing here, wrapping up our 5th caution period of the night at Martinsville Speedway for the Wall Riders of Joy's 200, presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. Dick Sylvia still in the lead. Scott Eckridge in the 2nd position. Right now he's being challenged heavily by Cody Dempster, the number 24 car, down on the inside. They continue to be too wide. Just behind these guys is Mr. Consistency, showing why we called him that. Mike Rasmus in the 4th position, trying to see if he can't get a better drive off the corner than the driver tucked down to his inside. That's Woody Mahan sporting a new paint for tonight.
Yeah, Woody Mahan, he's had track position so far in this race. He's looking to maintain that, continue to move forward.
I was surprised right there. It didn't look like Mike Rasmus had to pinch him all too hard. Whoa, Cody Dempster going around on the front stretch, makes hard contact with the inside wall, and that's Vincent Crowe spinning out in the middle of turns 3 and 4.
It looked like Vincent and Brian Yazik possibly. Caution is out for that incident, so we'll get a replay here in just a second.
Yeah, the Vincent Crowe one was just another self-spin. Crowe trying to make up positions after being kind of put towards the back and a lap down, just lost it by himself, just overstepped on the entry there to turn 3 on the high side.
Yeah, and definitely one of the things you touched on earlier, Kenny, is when you get above that concrete, the car does not handle at all, and it looks like he got that right rear just on the edge of the concrete asphalt surface.
I mean, there's a pretty big disparity in terms of banking between those two surfaces as well, guys.
Yeah, there is, and you get up into the asphalt portion. There's still banking there, but it almost feels like you have negative banking. The car actually feels like it's rolling off the track instead of turning into it.
Well, Kenny, it looks like we've got your best buddy, Michael Krobach, out here in the waiting room. Why don't you say we go ahead and dial him up?
All right, Michael Krobach, it's Kenny Kibbe in the Virtual Grip Network booth. You got me?
Kenny, you terrified me. I thought I was dropping my internet connection, seeing all my Discord disappeared, but then now I'm talking to you, so I'm a little less disappointed.
Oh, well, maybe you've died and gone to sim racing heaven, and now you're talking to me.
Hell yeah.
Imagine how Kenny feels.
Yeah, right?
So 11th to 5th, not a bad start for you. How's the race going so far?
So I did a bunch of open races this week with a setup that was very, very different from this. So learning everything over in practice was a real tough. But we're running the Scott Eckrich chassis brake package, which has been helping me a little bit. I don't know how it's going to be on the long run. We were just trying to be patient there to start, and I got stuck behind one of the series newcomers, which is fine. But I wanted to, be patient and give and take. But I got freight trained on the bottom, which was not good. I think we could have been running second or third right now. I don't quite have the feel that I did last year when we won the race in the fall, but I think just trying to keep in mind pit strategy, keep in mind fuel numbers, tires, all these cautions, we might have something for them at the end.
Now we know for fuel there's only one pit stop that needs to be had. Are you kind of just aiming at that midway point and then anytime after that pitting, or coming a little earlier, later?
I wanted to come in about 40 or 50 laps before the stage and to have track position for the stage, but there's about 5 or 6 cars that pitted about 11 laps ago, and they're going to jump me if I do that. So I might stay out till the stage, pit for fuel, and then kind of see how it shakes out at the end. I don't want to run the full stint of, a full fuel run after the stage to the checkered. I think that's too long on tires. But it kind of also depends on how it shakes out here with the cautions. If we have a lot of cautions, it might work. I think I ran 75 laps to the end last year and won. And Jersky had about 40 lap tires, and he could get to me, but not quite enough. So it might work. It's not ideal. But we'll just kind of have to see how the race shakes out. Right now, we're not getting the long enough runs to make it worth it.
Well, best of luck to you, buddy, and we'll try to not scare you next time.
Thank you, Kenny.
That was Michael Kropach. Yeah, driver number 72 car will send him back down into Loud Pedal Motorsports, put him right where we just got him from. I'd like to thank Michael for taking the opportunity to talk to us here as we wrap up our 6th caution on the day. Jake Sylvia is still your leader in that 18 car. He's still on the bottom, once again choosing that inside lane. I'll be awfully surprised if any of the leaders don't do that as we go on. Looks like Jake's ready to take the green flag here, slowing up just a little bit, trying to make sure he catches everybody sleeping. Scott Eckrich still in the 2nd position. And then Mike Rasmus down there on the bottom in the 3rd position. It's a little bit of a role reversal here. He's got Woody Mahan now to his outside.
Yeah, Mahan trying to roll that top side and get the momentum off to try to make this pass. He's not going to be able to do it, and he's going to let Michael Krobach get the majority of the way around him down the front straightaway.
Well, yellow flag once again out on the Speedway.
Yeah, this is a self-spin by Pete Baskins, and one factor that we had not talked about yet in this race, guys, is the curbs. And this is the first victim of the curbs this evening. You'll see Baskins go down here, and he'll just clip the curb on the inside in 3 and 4 here, and just have a lazy spin. I remember we had this problem a lot in the last races last year here at Martinsville, but this is the first one so far this evening.
Yeah, and guys, everybody says, well, it's easy, just stay off that curb, you know where it's at. But the fact of the matter is the grip, the biggest amount of grip is right next to that curb, but you do not want to touch it. When you do, it really upsets the car, de-wedges it, and around it'll go.
Running on board here on the rear end of Jake Sylvia's car, and the number 18 machine looking off his rear bumper. You can see the number 68 machine, the Toyota of Mike Rasmus. Mr. Consistency in that last podium position. Michael Krobach tagged another spot there. Of course, he was on the inside for that last restart. That might be part of the reason he was able to get down to the inside and around the 84 car of Woody Mahan. We'll see if roles reverse right now. Guys, how about this run here from Thomas George in the 6th car all the way up into the 6th position. Started dead last on the field in 29th.
Yeah, he definitely did. He won the first race here last year, and you can see he's got quite a bit of damage. So he's seen some action tonight, but it's not affecting the drivability of that car. He is up in the 6th position, and right behind him in 7th place is Mark Herzog. He's up from the 24th starting position, and just a few positions back in 9th place, Jeff Ward, he started 28th. So got a couple of guys that are kind of making their own strategy out there by being able to move forward early.
Yeah, certainly. I'll be really curious, too, as soon as the pit window opens for these guys to make it to the end of the race on that 1 tank of fuel, which drivers do that if they can go ahead and take advantage of that early, pit strategy and make sure they don't get caught up in any late race incidents before the end, and they might see themselves kind of circling back up there towards the front of the field where Mr. Jake Sylvia finds himself. And as we sit now on our 7th caution of the day, we're going to take a quick break and be right back after this. Grab yourself another hot dog. Let's make it 7.
This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to Martinsville Speedway. Scott Eckridge, your leader, he and Jake Sylvia are getting into it as they go to take the green flag here. Jake Sylvia might have been the leader, choosing the outside this time by Michael Krobach, putting in the work though on the outside as well. He's going to clear himself on the outside of Mike Rasmus. We'll see if Thomas George can do the same thing for Woody Mahan just behind him. Ooh, George did not have a good center. Turns 3 and 4 though.
He did not, but he's having to fight hard right now. That inside line is filled up. There's nowhere for him to go, so he's going to have to try to make his own luck here.
Cody Dempster trying really hard as well to get back all those positions he lost a couple laps ago. And Jeff Ward, high, wide, and handsome, all the way out the concrete part of the track, and turns 3 and 4 this last time by.
You know, we see Scott Eckridge really putting a lot of pressure on Sylvia right now with all these short runs. Do you think he's really trying to pressure and get that lead so he can have control for the next restart?
Yeah, definitely. You want that restart because I don't believe Jake's going to give you the inside line again, because he barely maintained the lead on this last one. But the other thing is, we know last week when we were at Bristol on the dirt that Jake really gave Scott's rear bumper a lot of action. So Scott could be looking to repay some of that here.
Oh, caution flag out once again. This will be our 8th of the night. See if we can get an eye on who this caution came out for. Looks like Alex Gretz and Creighton Carter. Getting word here from our director Ryan Seneker.
And these guys were getting into it off of turn 4, kind of back and forth, and it's hard to tell if Gretz broke early for turn 1 or if Carter just cleaned him out. It definitely visually looked like Carter cleaned him out, but it's always hard to tell if somebody broke early or not.
Yeah, it could have just been that Gretz figured he'd take the corner how he wanted to, and Carter just said, I'm not going to give you the inside unless I take you with me. Hard to tell. But guys, we talked about it a couple times here in between the caution periods, or I guess when we go to break. The stage is going to end at lap 100, and then for any of these guys currently up at the front of the field, I think there's absolutely no way you bring that car down pit road until after that stage break. However, if you're either outside of the top 10 or out of the championship in terms of points, I think you go ahead and bring your car down pit road as soon as you can make it on fuel and hope to just cycle back up to the front. I mean, it doesn't look like tires are falling off too much.
Yeah, absolutely. Tires are not going to be a huge factor here. Like we said, track position will be. So if you're somebody that's not really worried about points, looking to get your season turned around and possibly get a win, definitely pit as soon as you can, and then just take care of your tires so when that caution comes out after the stage break, you'll be able to cycle to the front. So, once again, strategy is going to come into play here, and the next 30 laps we'll be able to see just who decides to do what and who takes advantage of that.
One thing that could be a little bit interesting is if drivers do come in a little bit early, but yet still in the fuel window to make it to the end, You know, we don't have a stage caution per se, so if we did somehow get a long green flag run in the fuel window already for those drivers, they could stay out and the current leaders would have to come in and pit, which would make things really interesting. But, you know, you'd have to get a long green flag run for that to happen.
One of the things I'd like to talk about too, just a reminder for the folks at home, maybe you're tuning in to watch a pretty good racing league here in the Virtual Grip Network for the first time in a while, maybe the first time this year or the first time ever. Regardless, welcome to the stream. Happy to have you here for the race coverage of the Pretty Good Racing League here at Martinsville Speedway. For the Wall Riders Rejoice 200 presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. Stage points are awarded at the halfway point in the race, and it's just the same way as how the NASCAR series do them. 10 points for the driver, 1 point for the driver in the lead, 1 point for the driver who finishes the stage in the 10th position. There will be no caution though, just to signify the end of the stage, unless one just happens to happen by happenstance. iRacing pace car turns its lights off. Jake Sylvia is still your leader, so it looks like Jake's going to choose the outside once again. That's going to put Scott Eckridge down on the inside. Michael Krobach in third. Mike Rasmus in fourth. Woody Mahan rounds out your top five. Green flag out once again. Jake Sylvia continues to wait a long time until the drivers get down the front stretch there to finally put his foot on the loud pedal. Scott Eckridge really going to be able to take advantage of having that inside line on the start to make sure he doesn't get pipped for that second position by the likes of maybe a Mike Rasmus behind him. Michael Krobach and Thomas George duking it out for the fourth position. So far it looks like it's going to go the way of Michael Krobach. We'll see if George dips down.
Yeah, definitely. He's going to be able to get into that opening right now, not continue to fall backwards, but Thomas George trying to get his car realigned to that inside line and start to make some ground up.
Further in the field, you see Cy Ferris there, just tucked down to the inside of Jeff Ward in the number 9 car. I really expected for this to be a Jeff Ward kind of race. And to be fair to him, he has gained about 21 positions since the drop of the green flag earlier today. So he is making his way up through the field slowly but surely, however.
Yeah, he is. Unfortunately for him, he's been stuck on that outside line a lot. And we're looking up front right now. Scott Eckridge is going to make a move to the inside of Jake Sylvia, going into the turn 3, getting very close there, Austin.
Yeah, same situation as when Scott Eckridge tried to pass Creighton Carter there as it went down the backstretch. Scott got a much better run off the corner, had to check himself up, though, to avoid running into the back of the 18 car, Jake Sylvia. Jake gave him just enough room for Scott to get his nose down to the inside in turn 3. Now they're side by side duking it out for the lead here, just the same as they were last week out in Bristol.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, Jake's giving him no more than 1 car width, and we have a caution out on the Speedway, guys. We'll have to see what this one's for.
Yeah, perfect timing there for the number 70 car of Scott Eckridge, just able to pip Jake Sylvia for the lead before the caution flag flew. So it looks like he's going to be our leader as we head into the 9th caution of today. Looking here at the 39 car.
Yeah, so this one started at Creighton Carter, just got up onto the curbs again, spun it around, and saw Vincent Crowe involved in that. Again, he's still trying to recover his track position that he lost earlier, and Pete Baskins. Oddly enough, the other driver who's clipped the curb this evening, he ends up running into him.
Yeah, just trying to get a little bit too much out of the corner exit there, JR, would you say?
Yeah, just a little bit. And, you know, like we talked about earlier, the most amount of grip that you're going to get around this racetrack is right next to that curb. And unfortunately, you get a little too close to it. Once you hit it, that car de-wedges and it just comes around. There's very little you can do to try to save it.
So 9 hot dogs so far, and if you were getting yourself into, what do they call that in a baseball, where you have 9 hot dogs, you're drinking 9 beers in 9 innings. If you were doing that tonight with cautions, probably stop right now before we get to 18. That's 2 whole baseball games. I'd hate to see yourself do that to you. So if that's you, maybe just stick to only the hot dogs, and even then, I don't think those are too healthy for you. You're in lap 79 out of a possible 200. We're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll be right back here in just a couple seconds.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to the Wall Riders Rejoice 200, presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. We're here at Martinsville Speedway tonight for the Pretty Good Racing League. You're watching the Virtual Grip Network. Third leader of today, Scott Ackridge, rockets away from the field. He just got done taking that lead away from Jake Sylvia, who sits in the second position for right now. Cool and calmly slide into that second position there on the bottom, just ahead of Mike Rasmus in third. And another Mike, that's Michael Krobach in fourth in the 72 car. Good run for him so far. And how about Thomas George, guys? Fifth position all the way from 29th. That's a gain of 24 spots on the day for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Continuing to move forward. He got down on that inside line and is still in the fifth position. So when caution comes out, he'll still be in a good spot. But he's definitely got speed. He's continuing to try to move forward with these guys that are in front of him. Right now, he's got Krobach and Mike Rasmus right ahead.
Yeah, the battle I'm watching right now is the number 9 car of Jeff Ward. He's currently down to the inside of the 24 of Cody Dempster. Dempster on the high side. He was running just inside the top 5 before he got a little bit loosey-goosey off of turn 4. Nosed his car into the inside wall. Oh, goes a little bit high up the track. That's going to allow Jeff Ward to easily get to the inside of Jordan Harnish in the 22 car. And how about this turnaround of a day for Jordan Harnish? So we see the 10th caution fly.
Yeah, absolutely. And what we saw there with Cody Dempster there, he just got really loose, drove in really hard. That's something that these guys are going to have to pay attention to as we'll go to see a replay here of what the caution is for.
Yeah, so if we go and look at Mark Herzog in the 57, you'll see where the caution starts. And again, turn 4 has been a bugaboo for these drivers this evening as Herzog just again, he lost it off of turn 4 and then Vincent Crowe unable to avoid it, and then they kind of spin together. They almost got it going before iRacing called the caution out, but yeah, I don't know. It's been around that same area in the field is where these cautions keep happening, around about 15th to 20th. They just can't seem to get things sorted. And meanwhile, we have Jake Sylvia in the pits. And
Thomas George. George in the number 6 car went down pit road as well, and I'm kind of surprised they're doing that. I mean, I said if you're out of the points and you don't want to get stage points right now, good opportunity to come down pit road once you're absolutely certainty you can make it to the end of the race on only 1 tank of fuel. These guys can do that, but Thomas George, he's still got a pretty decent shot at finishing somewhere good in the points championship. He was going to get himself about 5 stage points, and Jake Sylvia has been doing pretty well himself this season, and he was running in the 2nd position. So I am really surprised by that move out of both those guys, but they might know something we don't.
Yeah, that is our 6th and 7th place drivers in the point standings currently. So yeah, like I said, Austin, that's a little bit surprising, but I think from a Jake Sylvia standpoint, once he got passed by Scott and saw how much speed Scott had, he knew he had to do something different if he wanted to win this race. And right now that 18 is looking for his first win of the season.
Yeah, meanwhile, the driver currently in the lead of this race, Scott Ackridge, looking for his 5th on the season and his 5th in a row. And by the way, if you were curious what that challenge was I was talking about, it's the 999 challenge. 9 hot dogs, 9 beers, 9 innings. You eat a hot dog and slam a beer for every single inning of a baseball game. If you were doing that for every single caution of this race currently, you'd be at a 10-pack. And while they don't sell beers in that many, they do sell hot dogs in that amount. And if you were going to eat all those, you'd have to buy 2 packs of buns at this point in the day, unless you bought yourself one of those jumbo packs. They sell them at 16 at Sam's Club or Costco. But JR and Kenny, I've got a question for both of you guys. I already asked it to Brian Greenlee, our Mahan Speed Laboratories. You finished second to last pull award winner for tonight. If you're going to go down there to get yourself a Martinsville dog, any hot dog, what are you going to put on the perfect hot dog for you? JR, we'll start with you first.
Well, I kind of got to go with Greenlee that we talked with earlier. I love chili and cheese on my hot dog, so that's definitely one route that I'm going to go.
And although I am not much of a hot dog kind of person, more of a hamburger guy, I will occasionally go with just a basic ketchup and relish on my hot dog.
Yeah, ketchup and relish. Not very often you hear those two going together, especially on a hot dog, but you know what? I cannot diss that combination. iRacing pace car pulls down pit road. Scott Eckridge is still your leader. He's going to have Mike Rasmus in the number 68 car down to his inside. Scott Eckridge a lot earlier of a restart than we were used to seeing out of the 18 car of Jake Sylvia. He's going to catch most of the field sleeping. Mike Rasmus especially. Scott's already got a 2-car length lead. 3 car lengths between Rasmus to Michael Krobach, the car in 3rd position. On the inside, he's got the 84 car of Woody Mahan to his outside. Looks like they're all going to get single file for right now.
Yeah, definitely single file up front for the top 6 positions. Then back there you have Safe Ferries and Doug Roth going side by side down the back stretch.
Oh, 1 car going around 2 cars, actually. The 17 car, Alex Gretz, ran first into the outside wall, and I'm not sure what Mark Herzog was doing, or did rather, to get his car in that predicament, but he was also in a 4-wheel slide. We'll say, though, I don't think he was the cause for caution right there.
Yeah, there was a few incidents going on there. Herzog he was kind of throwing some blocks on Dempster, and Dempster decided to ship him into turn 3, but the cause for caution was Alex Gretz right up ahead. Separate incident, he ended up getting spun around by Vincent Crow, who drove into the back of him pretty darn hard, actually, down at turn 3. And wow, one thing we didn't talk about with those leaders pitting is that puts them in danger in this kind of hot spot for cautions, and Jake Sylvia was right there, very lucky to get away with it.
Looks like
A little bit of wall contact there.
Yeah, but it got in the back of Herzog, and decent wall contact from both those drivers, and sometimes that can impact the steering for these guys, right, JR? You might have a bent toe link or something, or the steering is just off at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. It does not take much to damage the suspensions on these Gen 7 cars. So definitely, if you do get that damage, the car's not going to handle or do what you need it to. Your steering wheel might be off a little bit. The car's not going to feel the same. But on the worst side of that is that more times than not, when you hit the wall like that, you will get what they call a meatball flag, and you will end up having to come in and get some repairs done.
Well, under this 11th caution of the day, it looks like we're going to take another quick commercial break. We'll be right back with you. Why don't you go to the fridge, take another hot dog out. Going to have 3 laps to go here to the end of the stage. Scott Eckridge is still your leader. Mike Rasmus, 2nd position. Michael Krobach, 3rd. Woody Mahan in 4th. 2 laps to go to the end of the stage as they cross the start-finish line that last time by. We'll see if Scott Eckridge can hang on here to get himself an additional 10 bonus points. And I can certainly tell you that it's not what Michael Krobach wants to see, already trailing Scott by 50 points coming into tonight's race.
Yeah, definitely not. One thing I want to mention, the guys that did pit, like Jake Sylvia, Thomas George, those guys are running 11th and 12th. They're right there on the verge of getting some stage points.
Yeah, might be able to make sure you can get to the end of the race on gas. Still get yourself some stage points. Scott Eckridge is going to cross the start-finish line this time by. He'll win the stage here. Mike Rasmus 2nd, Krobach 3rd, Jeff Ward 4th, Woody Mahan 5th, Jordan Harnish 6th, Doug Ross 7th, Saif Ferris in 8th, Cody Dempster 9th, Vincent Crow rounds out the top 10. All 10 of those drivers getting stage points there in that most recent lap. Scott Eckridge is still your leader. They're 3 wide as they head down into turns 1 and 2. Jake Sylvia on the bottom. Doug Roth in the middle gets punted just a little bit by Cody Dempster in a 24 car behind him. I don't know how, but they continue to keep this thing green.
Yeah, definitely those guys getting put in a bad situation there with Sylvia going to the inside late, but they made it work even though there was a lot of contact there. These cars do allow for some of that.
Thomas George looking down to the inside of Doug Roth in the 43 car. Thomas George won this race. The last time we were here in the spring, he's also the defending series champion, and he is one of the 2 drivers that can for sure make it on fuel until the end. The other one of them currently that we're looking at in this sort of lead half of the field, Jake Sylvia in the 18 car. He is currently 2 more positions up the racetrack from Thomas George. For right now, I see the overall race for the victory between those 2 drivers. Jake Sylvia looking to go around the outside of the 22 car. Jordan Harnish looks like he lifted to allow Jake Sylvia to go around the outside heading into turns 1 and 2. So move Jake Sylvia now up into the 6th position.
Yeah, he's wasting no time moving forward. We know that Thomas George also pitted with him. He's still back in 9th place, but Sylvia continuing to charge.
Right now, Thomas George looking down to the inside of Saif Ferris in the 44 car. Of course, Saif from Canada. Of our decent few Canadian drivers in this race in the league overall. Move Thomas George now up into the 8th position. Last couple laps here, Michael Krobach continues to help Mike Rasmus. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say it. This is potentially the longest green flag run we've had this evening, and I'm not saying it's a green flag feel at this point, but I think it's actually a good thing for the drivers that haven't pitted yet. If we can run a decent amount of laps and make those drivers who pitted even maybe think twice about staying out and possibly force them into putting another set of tires on. There's not a lot of fall off, but it could at least make them think about making another pit stop.
Yeah, Kenny, I can just tell you from a pure statistical standpoint, having 11 cautions inside on the wrong side at 98 laps into this race, this is definitely without a doubt. I don't even need to do much counting laps green flag. I think we've had more green flag laps just this run than we've had the entire race before lap 98. And this is really going to allow these guys, JR, to get themselves into a rhythm as we go into this thing.
Yeah, for sure. So that's one of the biggest things about Martinsville. It is a rhythm track. It is very hard to get into that rhythm, to stay off of those curbs while getting extremely close to them and avoiding contact with the drivers in front of it. We see Jake Sylvia being very aggressive there on Woody Mahan going into turn 3. But yeah, once you get into that rhythm, it is less likely that you're going to make a mistake and get that car in a position that gets it out of shape.
Yeah, Jake Sylvia down to the inside of Woody Mahan in the 84. Gave him a little bit of a tappy-tap-tap there going into turn 3 last time by. Made a decisive move going down the front stretch. He was not to the inside of the 84 car at all. Woody just went wide and let him have that spot. I like that good, smart heads-up racing from the driver of the 84 car saying, you know what, I'll let you go up the track and maybe take out somebody up there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to know who you're racing, the aggressiveness that they have, but also that the 18's on a completely different strategy as you. So right now, you're not racing him. You still have a pit stop to make, so there's no point in racing him hard.
You saw Thomas George there on your screen making his way down to the inside and around the 22 car of Jordan Harnish. Further up the road, you continue to see Jeff Ward. He's looking to go around the outside of Michael Krobach. had a little bit of a rough go at it. I think he's just, for right now, choosing to kind of ride it out here and let time go by. So we see our 12th caution of the day.
Yeah, it looks like this one's Say Ferris ends up going around, and it looked like there was Alex Gretz ended up getting into him. I'm trying to see what happened with Gretz because he was ahead. Oh, he got so Gretz got really loose off of turn 2, and that allowed Ferris. There you see up ahead. Ferris gets by, and then Gretz just really shallowed up the angle into turn 3 and kind of missed it. Got into the side of the 44, and that'll give the current leaders the caution that they wanted, so they'll come in and make their pit stop, and it looks like Sylvia and George will indeed stay out here, and they will lead Frog into the front of the field.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Jake Sylvia tried to accelerate on the outside of the track to make sure that he was able to lead another lap, and I think he's just trying to go after that most laps led, maybe get some bonus points there compared to the rest of the field. But if you're going to try that hard for a couple points, I'm surprised he made that pit stop there at lap 88. So he wins the race off pit road here. I anticipated between these drivers. No, looks like we had some guys going for 2-tire stops. Jordan Harnish looks like he's going to win the race off pit road.
Now that is one thing I don't have experience with, is trying 2 tires. We haven't seen a whole lot of fall off. I'm sure these drivers do not have a whole lot of percentage wear on the tread or on the tire for that matter. So it's definitely worth a try getting that good track position, or better anyways. All these drivers will be mired in some kind of traffic here.
And while we wait for this 12th caution period to wrap up, we're going to take another quick commercial break, and we'll be right back after this.
This is your chance to get behind the wheel. The opportunity to race just like the pros. From the grassroots levels, where we all got our start, to the most popular race cars on the planet. From the fairgrounds of Nashville to the high banks of Daytona, to tracks that will never be forgotten. Realistic driving, intense competition, all from the comfort of your own home. This is the ultimate motorsports simulation. This is iRacing.
Welcome back to the Wall Riders Rejoice 200, presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. He's the world's worst streamer ever. You can check him out on Twitch if you're into watching tryhards race pixel cars, seeing how many kids you can have, or demolishing pretend semi-trucks. Octane 93, disappointing tens of viewers most days of the week. Seriously, read that right off the script. I'm not sure if Kevin wrote that himself or if that was written for him, but I genuinely do insist that you folks at home go check out his Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Octane93. You'll have a good time, usually, I promise. That kind. Green flag racing once again. Jake Sylvia is your leader. Thomas George stays outside. Oh, Mark Herzog going in the corner a little bit hot. Gives a tap to the rear end there of the 6-car Thomas George. George is going to be able to clear himself, though, into the 2nd position. He's got Tyler Graff in the 98 car in the 3rd spot. Just behind him, it's the 42 of Jason Galvin on the inside. Mark Herzog in the 57 car on the outside. A mustard-colored car there for Mark Herzog. I wonder if he's a big fan of mustard.
Absolutely possible. He likes that color for sure, Austin. And right now we're seeing some side-by-side racing, but also up front you can see Thomas George is really charging hard after Jake Sylvia the first couple of laps there. A little bit of a gap's opened up, but Thomas definitely looks like he's able to get into that corner a little bit better than our leader.
Jason Galvin and Tyler Graff are really going after it. Mostly Jason Galvin in the 42 car. He's been attacking these corners pretty aggressively, especially the center. And boy, it's going to pay off for him right now. Tyler Graff's going to go up the hill. He's going to lose a position to not just the 42 car of Jason Galvin, but also the Californian driver of the number 57 car of Mark Herzog. Now he's going to have our pole sitter and early race leader Brian Greenlee down to his inside. He's leading spots. He's got Jordan Harnish now making a move down to the inside as there's another yellow flag out on the speedway.
Yeah, this one.
A lot of guys.
Yeah, this one nearly caught the back end of Scott Eckrich. He just escaped it. We talked about those drivers who pitted. Well, they're back in this traffic now. And Safe Ferris just lost it on his own off of turn 2. Came back across the track. You see there on his outside is Scott Eckrich. He loses it, nearly clips the 70. And then Pete Baskins, I believe that was, and a few others end up piling in behind.
I realize you don't have an actual golden horseshoe to give out, but boy, if we did, Scott Eckrich would win it today. That was, got to be millimeters close. And just for fun, after the fact, you saw Brian Yazik getting spun there by Doug Roth. Really got to hurt for the driver of the 55 car. He's usually so fast on these flatter tracks where you really have to maximize your braking opportunities when you try to get the car slowed down and turn into the corners. So really surprised that Brian Yazik has had a rough run of it today, but to be honest, he's mostly just been a bystander in a lot of these accidents, and they've pretty much happened, if not just in front of him, just behind him, and he always seems to get caught up in them for one reason or another.
Yeah, he's had kind of a rough stretch. He struggled at Coda, didn't have the greatest race at Bristol Dirt either, and then now today he's struggling. But I think today is mostly just circumstantial, just being caught at the wrong place at the wrong time. And a lot of these drivers, we haven't really been able to see exactly how fast they've been because we haven't had a long enough run to check that out. And the place like this, man, if you pick the wrong time to make that pit stop, or an unlucky time I should say, to make a pit stop and put yourself back in traffic, it can really hurt you, but you have no idea. In hindsight's 20/20, but at the time you have no idea what's going to happen.
JR, you made a kind of an interesting observation. You may notice that Scott Eckrich has come out of the pits behind a lot of the drivers that he should have beaten out of the pit road there.
Yeah, absolutely. I was kind of expecting him to be around that 10th position when we last went green, but he had fallen down to like 17th, 18th at one point, and now he's back up to 15th. But still behind some of the guys that he pitted ahead of on that last stop. So not sure if he had a speeding penalty or what exactly happened there.
Yeah, regardless, though, I definitely expected for Scott Eckrich to be up around where, between Jordan Harnish and Michael Krobach, and right now, just like you were talking about, inside the top 10, kind of floating around at the 6th to 10th position, and he's certainly below that mark for right now, currently in the 15th spot.
But guys, he restarted, I was going back looking at some replays, he restarted, it looked like around 11th, somewhere in there, and he just had a bad restart. He decided to move up to the top side to follow Jeff Ward, and it didn't work out, and it dropped them both back. So I think that's at least the source of some of his position loss, just a bad restart.
Not good either, Katie. Excellent pit road reporting. Green flag ready to fly once again after our 13th caution of the night. Jake Sylvia waiting for a long time in that Geico restart zone. He's going to get his foot on the lotto pedal once again. This time, Mark Herzog doesn't get quite as close as he did the time before to the rear end there of the 6th car. Oh, Brian Greenlee almost goes around there. Good save on his part. Oh, what a bunch of cars into the back of one another again. It looks like it was Alex Gretz into the rear end of Mike Rasmus. Somehow they're going to keep it clean.
Lots of contact. We see some guys actually getting sideways and almost spinning, but right now we continue to stay green.
Oh, Jordan Harnish almost went for a spin there off of turn 2. Got the car really loose. Allowed Mark Herzog to make his way by. Thomas George finally gets clear of Jason Galvin. Unfortunately for him, he'll lose a position just as the yellow flag comes out. Well, there's a big wreck going down the front stretch.
I believe D. D'Ambiozzi actually was at the start of that going around. We'll have to see if contact was made or not on this replay in just a second here.
Yeah, so when we take a look at this, we'll actually find that this was a kind of a chain reaction. You'll actually see the silver car Alex Gretz get into the side of Woody Mahan, hooks him, and it hooks him right into D. D'Ambiozzi, and she goes for a spin, and a few other drivers got involved. Really stinks for D'Ambiozzi. She's had a really clean event. We haven't really talked about her much, which is honestly kind of a good thing because it means she's had an uneventful day up until this point. Yeah, and you see a few other drivers checking up. But yeah, just a chain reaction there, and just really, really tight racing. These drivers are not giving each other a whole lot of room, so you make one little miscalculation and it leads to contact.
Yeah, and once again, we're seeing Woody Mahan get caught up in someone else's deal there. Just having that contact made with him from the car on the outside. So he's still got time to recover, but definitely a rough race for him once again.
Austin, how many hot dogs are we up to now?
We're up to 14. I think I miscalculated there. We are up to 14 hot dogs now. Getting close to 2 packs of hot dogs. And almost going to eclipse 2 packs of buns. And if you try to do the 999 challenge, you're probably on your way to the hospital right now. And if you're not, probably make sure to sleep on your side or your stomach at this point. Definitely not your back. It's been an interesting race so far, guys, and I'm kind of interested in. I mean, Scott Eckridge gained a lot of positions up right there. He's currently in the 10th position. He continues to pick him up and put him down. I'll be curious as to just how much further up the field he can make it. We're still at lap 134, so he's got about the better part of 67 laps before the end of this race to continue to make him up.
Yeah, he's definitely got plenty of time. He's going to have to try to be a little aggressive on these restarts and make sure that, if nothing else, he doesn't lose positions because those are the ones that are frustrating to get back. When you've already been there, you go backwards and you have to get your way back up to where you were. So definitely doesn't want to lose any positions on this restart. Hopefully he's going to be on an inside lane and be able to make up some ground. But definitely has some hard hitters ahead of him. I mean, Jeff Ward's been fast in this race. Cody Dempster's been fast at times. We know Krobach's been up there in the top 5 for most of the race. And Thomas George and Jake Sylvia have been some of the fastest.
Yeah, boy, if there's any business to be in right now, if you were to be in or around the Martinsville area, see the pretty good racing league coming to town, invest in the hot dog area. Buy some stocks in Oscar Mayer, Kogel's, Nathan's, what brand they use. It might be their own sort of concoction here. Speedway, but boy, if you were a hot dog vendor, you'd be coming out of here with a lot of money and almost no hot dogs to your name because you probably sold out all your stock. Jake Sylvia is still your leader. Jason Galvin in 2nd. Thomas George 3rd. Jordan Harnish 4th. Mark Herzog in 5th. And JR, I certainly know the pain. I'm sure you do too. But Jason Galvin fought so hard to get that 3rd spot away from Thomas George just to lose it, just to get it right before a caution flag comes out. Jake Sylvia taking the green flag here when the drivers are inside turn number 3. That's going to spell good news there for Jason Galvin. Thomas George thinks better of charging in there on the bottom. No, it looks like he's not. He's going to try challenger for that 2nd spot.
Yeah, definitely an early jump there from the leader, and Galvin trying to find that hole and get down. I believe he's going to be able to get it here. Jordan Harnish gets a little bit loose off the corner, allows Galvin to get that inside line and maintain 3rd.
Mark Herzog rolling around the outside there. He's got Mike Rasmus down to his inside on the bottom. Jeff Ward grabbing a spot there from Michael Krobach just behind those drivers. Scott Eckridge kind of boxed in for right now. And Kenny, I know you certainly know this pain. You're definitely faster than the drivers ahead of you, but you can't pass them because they're too wide.
Yeah, and last restart, Eckridge had a really good thing going on. He was following Jeff Ward, who we know obviously is fast. They were kind of moving their way through the field. Well, this restart, Eckridge has lost touch with Ward. Ward's about 3 cars up. You see them here going out of shot. And Eckridge wants to stay with that 9 car if he can, but he's having a hard time. He's kind of stuck behind Gretz at the moment. You see Herzog up in front. You guys see a couple cars.
Ooh, Scott Eckridge almost went around. Jason Galvin got super loose off at turn 2. Sorry, Kenny.
Yeah, and I think Greenlee got out of shape there at one point, and Eckridge just trying to figure out a way to get by this traffic right now.
Jason Galvin side by side with Mike Rasmus. That's the battle for the 4th position. How about Jordan Harnish back into the podium spots?
Yeah, Jordan doing a great job to recover in this race up into 3rd. And, we spoke about him earlier, but Jason Galvin there.
Oh, they're through wide across the front stretch. He didn't want to hold on to that podium spot for long, JR.
No, they are racing hard up front. Jason Galvin there making the leap to the inside. On the outside was the 68 of Mike Rasmus, who's continuing to have a good run here, but he's going to fall back. He's getting stuck on that outside lane.
Yeah, he got really loose there coming off of turn 2. He might have gotten in the wall. He lost his spot for sure to Jason Galvin, allowed Jeff Ward to get down to his inside. Jordan Harnish has fallen all the way back right now to, I believe, the 7th position as we see our 15th caution of the day.
Yeah, guys, this one is Scott Eckrich, and we were chronicling his struggles on this restart. Got stuck behind Gretz, made contact with him, ended up losing a spot to, I believe it was Cody Dempster, and then these two get together. I think it was a little bit of frustrations kind of boiling over with the circumstances the 70 car was in, a little bit of contact there, and just a really poor situation for Eckrich, as now he's going to lose even more track position.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be too surprised there if he got a lot of damage on the left front of that nose. This is a replay, the two drivers going at it. You can see the 24 car, Cody Dempster, kind of left the bottom open just a little bit there for Scott Eckrich. And I don't know if it was Scott coming off the curb, maybe Dempster coming back down, or after a little bit of that contact trying to save the car from going around, but they door each other.
Yeah, definitely. I think Scott was trying to make a little bit of a look to the inside, make Dempster think about it. Dempster went higher like we saw there, and Scott dove low and did get his car on the apron, or the curb there. But it definitely looked like Dempster was on his way back down, and the contact there actually sent Scott around ultimately.
So Jake Sylvia, still your leader. Thomas George in 2nd, Jason Galvin in 3rd, Jeff Ward is 4th, Mike Rasmus is 5th, Michael Krobach is currently in the 6th position with Jordan Harnish in 7th, Mark Herzog is in 8th. He's had a pretty up and down day, as is Alex Gretz in 9th. Brian Yazik's going to round out the top 10. Vincent Crowe, the first driver to win more than one race, finds himself in 11th position, kind of just where he is right now in the championship points as well. Woody Mahan, 12th, Isaiah Dupre, 13th, Tyler Graff in 14th, and Scott Eckrich rounds out the top 15. He's got D. D'Ambiose just behind him as you see Brian Greenlee and Creighton Carter ducking down onto pit road.
And Creighton Carter, he at one point was like, I remember seeing him 4 laps down. He might have been even more than that, and he's been the only car a lap down for quite a few cautions now, so he's now only 1 down.
We keep having all these cautions. I mean, this is just a dream come true for a driver that has a lot of damage and a lot of laps left to continue to get that thing fixed up, patched up, and put back out on the racetrack, and that's exactly what he's been doing.
Yeah, that's one reason why you don't give up in these kinds of races. You try to stay out and maximize your points, and sometimes you might run into a little bit of luck and find yourself getting a better finishing position than what you had originally thought. Creighton is the last driver on track in 24th, as Stouffer, Bonner, Hart, Rose, and Aiden Gretz are the retirees from this one.
I want to take a quick second. I talked about it a little bit earlier in the race, but I do like to point out when drivers race kind of alternate schemes. Woody Mahan is driving an Alliance car for tonight. Usually he runs a more purple-colored Speed Laboratories machine, and that looks like they spoke a little bit too soon. Jake Sylvia, once again, fires off a little bit too early for my taste, a lot earlier than I expected. I think that's the goal for right now. Fired off in the middle of turns 3 and 4. He's got Jason Galvin and Thomas George racing side by side through turn 2. He's currently got himself about a half a straightaway lead over the rest of the field as the 18 car of Jake Sylvia. Jeff Ward now looking down the inside of the 6 car of Thomas George. Interesting to see the 2 cars, the 9 and 6, fighting each other. The past 2 defending series champions in the pretty good racing lead.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, we got another caution on the Speedway here. Tyler Graff, it sounds like. We'll get a replay here shortly and see exactly what this one's for.
It's going to be caution 16 of the night. We'll see if we can't get a replay here to see the cost for this caution.
Yeah, so this one starts out as kind of your classic Martinsville stack up there. You got drivers kind of checking up, running into each other, and then finally Graff got hit in the left rear by, I think that was O'Connor that got into him and spun him around.
Yeah, indeed, it was Joshua O'Connor, the number 59 car, sponsored by Mane and Tail. Almost executed a perfect pirouette there, much like we were seeing last time out at Dirt Bristol. And with this, our 16th caution of the day, you probably just polished off your second pack of buns, or if you went to Costco or Samsco, got yourself that big old 16 pack, just polishing that thing off. We're going to take a quick commercial break while you evaluate your life choices.
This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.
Welcomes you to the Chuckles. I'm in danger. 250 can possibly go to the outside. He does go to the outside of Ricky Harden. Tries a slide draft him. Harden goes up the track. Now back down to the bottom. Gets a huge push from Tommy Ryan at the start finish. It's going to be Thomas George.
Running the high line, trying to make that
got
pass.
loose off turn 4.
In the grass goes the 6 car, and they were side by side, 2 by 2 here.
Scott Eckler winning the last race of the season and the championship.
Jeff Ward definitely getting the championship for season 2.
Give it up for Thomas George, winning the race and the championship. George overshoots the corner. Scott puts that car just where he needs to on the middle. It's going to be a drag race through the kick. Welcome back to the Wall Riders of Joyce 200, presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. Kevin Bartelt is the world's worst streamer ever at Octane 93. You can check him out on Twitch if you're into watching tryhards race pixel cars, seeing how many kids you can have, or demolishing pretend semi-trucks. Octane 93, disappointing tens of viewers most days of the week, and yes, that is how it's written. I read the script as it is. We're about to take the green flag here. 17th time today. We've had 16 cautions so far. Jake Sylvia is still your leader, and in case you folks at home were wondering, it is completely legal for him to go ahead and restart the race as soon as the pace car gets off the track. So all that silly business he was pulling there, restarting the race in turns 3 and 4, completely okay as far as the rule book is concerned. Jeff Ward slots into the second position, gains a spot over Jason Galvin. A little bit of a sluggish go there off of turn 4. Jeff Ward almost had the inside of Sylvia as they went down the front stretch. We'll see if he can regroup and maybe hope for Sylvia to make that same mistake again.
Yeah, that was really weird, guys. Sylvia really stopped coming out of the corner. I don't know if he just really got loose because the car didn't wiggle a whole lot. But before we get into that, we've got another caution out on Speedway here.
That'll be our 17th of the day. Get a replay here as it continues to play out. Jake Sylvia is still your leader. Ford in second. This is a replay of the cause for caution here. This is D. D'Ambiozzi in the 50 car. This is coming off of turn 4.
Yeah, so this kind of happens. The caution's actually kind of ahead of this group. Yeah, you're going to want to watch Herzog and Crow. So Crow dumps Herzog, and then they actually they get it going, but I think the caution maybe is already out by this point. And then you see I think Herzog was getting a little frustrated with the other yellow car in the field and ended up putting himself in the fence for his troubles.
Another replay. This is riding on board with Dee D'Ambiozzi. This is looking over the hood of her car from the roof camera. See the mayhem kind of just unfold in front of her. Good job on her part, though, getting that car checked up in time.
Yeah, I will say, anybody watching from home that does some iRacing definitely need to take a lesson there from Dee, because when she saw a wreck happening ahead of her, she definitely got slowed up. It is very rarely a good thing to go ahead and drive through that wreck, so she did a good job taking care of her equipment there.
And Kenny, if I'm not misunderstood here, you talked about having some fun facts for us about hot dogs, specifically a one Joey Chestnut.
Yeah, so on the 4th of July, there's always a big, really large hot dog eating contest, and Joey Chestnut, he's kind of an American hero at this point. And he has won 15 times the 4th of July hot dog eating contest. In 2022, he ate 63 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes, which is not the record. But he's the current champion. And then one thing I did not know, April 6, 2023, which is National Burrito Day, he won a burrito eating contest, the first ever Qdoba World Burrito Eating Championship in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, eating 14 and a half burritos in 10 minutes. So whether or not you think competitive eating is a sport, I'd say it's at least a talent, and it's something I wouldn't be able to do, so you got to appreciate it.
Yeah, Joey Chestnut is definitely the Richard Petty or Kyle Larson of the competitive eating scene. You talked about the July 4th weekend on Independence Day. Did you know Americans as a whole are expected to enjoy 150 million hot dogs? That's enough to stretch from D.C. to L.A. more than 5 times. Incredible. And if you're an American enjoying hot dogs today, one for every caution, you'll have had 17 to this point in the race. iRacing pace car pulls back down pit road, gives command of the field over to Jake Sylvia. See Jeff Ward really giving it his all, trying to anticipate when Jake's going to go. Wait a little bit longer this time by. We'll see if Jeff can make his way down to the inside there. It was clear for a second, but Jason Galvin really doing a good job of getting that car stuck down in there. So Jeff Ward hears that car inside. He's going to clear himself, though, coming off at turn 2 in the second position.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff Ward gets that spot. A little bit of gamesmanship going on that restart. I don't think Jeff Ward was the only one accelerating and stopping there. So we'll have to see how that goes. I actually got a wreck going into the corner here. Thomas George getting into Jason
Brian
Galvin.
Yazik, too.
Oh,
Yep,
there's a lot of main players here involved in that one.
Well, AJ, that was a humdinger.
Yeah, we're going to have to take a look at probably a few different shots of this because
there's like 3 wrecks at once.
yeah, so, well, George dove down to take the bottom, and he cut across Rasmus, and Rasmus wasn't going to give it to him, so he punted George. George, in turn, punted Galvin, and then it just all hell broke loose, and, I mean, Galvin got turned around, Krobach involved, multiple other drivers. We can take a look at how this developed into turn 2. We'll see some of the drivers who piled into this one.
Curious to see what happened to the 55 car there. Brian Yazik, he was going for a slide way before the corner. Oh, we checked up, and I think Vincent Crow went in there a little bit too wide and just barely left rear of the 55 car, and that got him out of shape. And then Mark Herzog went in there and took him the rest of the way out for good measure.
You see Mahan there involved as well. And, you know, a lot of these drivers will probably be able to continue without too much damage, but the problem is they're going to lose track position.
Yeah, that was a big one. We might not see a wreck that big when we go to Talladega next time out. You folks at home are probably well aware of what the big one is at Talladega. Looks like we probably just had the big one at Martinsville.
Yeah, absolutely. We're at the stage of the race here, only about 33, 34 laps to go. So if there was any kind of patience being shown early on, I'm not sure there was, but if there were, that patience is kind of out the window. You're not going to be giving anybody anything from here on out. If you have a run on somebody, you're going to take it, and that's absolutely what we saw there going into the corner with a car looking to the inside. I believe Mike Erasmus looking to the inside of Thomas George.
We're at our 18th hot dog of the day. We're going to have another fun fact about hot dogs. Apparently, they were one of the first foods eaten on the moon. Did not know that. And for that last fun fact, we're going to take a quick break and be right back after this commercial.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible.
Green flag racing here at Martinsville once again. Jake Sylvia still your leader. Battle for the second position. Jeff Ward finally clears himself down from the inside of the 17 car of Alex Gretz. Scott Eckridge though puts himself in the fourth position. A commanding move around. Oh, gets into the back of the 17 car, spins him around. Forced to check up. Lost him a lot of spots, and just like that, we're under our 19th caution of the day.
Yeah, go ahead there, Kenny.
Well, I was going to say, remember what I talked about earlier when Eckridge got stuck behind Gretz earlier in the race when he was trying to come back through the field, and ended up really leading to a lot of negativity for Eckridge later on. And I can't tell if it's a checkup or if Eckridge just lost patience and is just not really going to have it anymore.
I feel like he just went through the center of the corner and did not expect for the 17 car to have rotated like that. I mean, Scott does a much better job of getting through the center of the corner than I think Gretz did. Let's see a replay of it here.
I agree there, Austin. I believe Gretz was just trying to get his car turned back down, and of course that slows you up, while Scott was doing a nice job rolling through the center there, and they just came together.
Well, the other thing too is he might have seen possibly an opening with Gretz not exactly being on the bottom and just tried to sneak into that gap, and then as soon as he went in, it closed. So that's another possibility.
And just like how every whale is a mammal, but not every mammal is a whale, every hot dog is a sausage, but every sausage isn't necessarily a hot dog. What do you know? And how about this? Mickey Mouse's first on-screen words were, and I quote, hot dog. Pretty crazy stuff. Speaking of crazy, we're on, what is this, 19 cautions now? Probably time for another break. We'll be right back. We're back just in time before we go green flag racing at Martinsville Speedway once again. Jake Sylvia is still your leader. It's going to allow Jeff Ward to have the inside on this restart. Jeff's going to have Vincent Crow to the outside right now in the 3rd position. We'll see if Mike Rasmus can rip away that spot from him. Scott Eckridge was going to be in the 4th position. He's fallen all the way back to just inside the top 5 for right now. We'll see how this fares for him.
Yeah, he's still in a good spot. Still in that inside lane. He's going to be the inside of Vincent Crow as they go off into the turn 1 here. Mike Rasmus was able to clear and get that 3rd spot, but we got another caution, guys.
Yeah, this will likely be our 20th or 21st of the night, to be honest, guys. My pen may or may not have run out of ink. So, anymore, I'm just making scratches in a piece of paper.
Yeah, so this one started with Josh O'Connor. He kind of missed turn 3 and 4, got up out of the groove and was just trying to get the car turned around and got loose. You know how little grip there is up there, and then collected Gretz, and then you see Herzog involved again. And and it looks like Greenlee in there late too.
This is another view here. This is from our blimp camera. Oh yeah, Josh just got really loose there up on the high side. Gretz just a bystander.
I know it's I know Jeff Ward is probably getting a little frustrated because he's trying to settle into a rhythm to set up a pass on Sylvia. He's at least as fast, if not faster, and just cannot seem to get a rhythm down to be able to set up that pass. And JR, we've both been in races like that in the past where you got pace, but you just don't have you don't get the rhythm to use it. And we know that Martinsville is definitely a rhythm racetrack.
Yeah, and the frustrating thing for Jeff, like you said, you got to be able to get into that rhythm. That takes laps to do. It does not happen right after a restart. But also, he's already seen that when he put pressure on Sylvia earlier. Sylvia made a mistake, only one, but he did make one, and it almost gave Jeff that inside line. So in Jeff's mind, at least, he thinks if he can continue to put that pressure on under green flag conditions, that mistake may happen again. So Jeff's hoping that we can get some laps in here so he can try to set up that pass. But yeah, it's not going to happen, 1 or 2 laps in. He's got to have 3, 4, 5 laps to get that rhythm going.
Well, that's the other part of that too. I mean, the leader is at such a big advantage on these restarts because they literally do get to dictate when to restart the race. You're not waiting until just inside the restart zone. You're not letting iRacing start this thing. Definitely, you don't want to lose that big advantage you give yourself by being the leader on restart. You want to be the one to start the race, and Jake Sylvia's been doing a master class of a job for right now. We'll see if Jeff Ward can continue to mount any pressure on him. Currently, Jeff Ward's in the 2nd spot. Mike Rasmus rounds out the podium positions. Vincent Crow is 4th. Scott Eckridge rounds out the top 5. Desai Dupre is 6th. Cody Dempster 7th. Woody Mahan is 8th. Shane Parrish in 9th, and Jordan Harnish rounding out the top 10. It's been a crazy one so far. And speaking of craziness, did you guys know that the world's longest hot dog, was 668 feet long, enough to cover 2 football fields? That's crazy.
Yeah, with the length of this race, you might have had just enough time to eat that hot dog, Austin.
Yeah, probably. I feel like you might have to take a bathroom break or 2. I'm sure you'd be pretty all right if that were the case. We get ready to go back to green flag racing. Lights are out atop the iRacing pace car. It's going to pull itself down onto pit road. 19 laps to go, going to be 18 when we cross the line. Jake Sylvia, not as strong of a restart. We're wrecking already. 24 car Cody Dempster puts himself into the outside fence.
Yeah, we'll have to get a replay there to see what happened exactly. But yeah, on that restart, Jake Sylvia obviously gets the jump, but almost turned across the nose of Jeff Ward. That could have been bad there. You have to remember that.
Well, there was actually 2 incidents going on there. So we had Dempster, which is what you guys caught, but also D. D'Ambiose there on camera there with a self-spin. Actually, kind of 2 self-spins as Dempster got loose on the straightaway. D'Ambiose got loose off turn 4.
22-car harness there, upper left of the screen, just going through the shot now. And what do you know? We've had 22 cautions by my count so far, plus or minus, give or take.
Yeah, and I do want to point out, guys, the one thing that we didn't see early on was the restarts happening in the corners. Jake's doing that because it is a big advantage. If you're the leader and you accelerate in the corner, you know when you're going to accelerate and you don't overstep the bounds, you don't spin those tires. Everybody around you is going to try to keep up with you and put that throttle all the way down. It's causing a lot of issues, and a lot of people are carrying speed at weird points of the corner, and that's where we're kind of seeing some of this mess happen and some of the spins.
Yeah, it's been a really weird race so far. And more fun facts about hot dogs. A standard beef hot dog is 190 calories, offers 7 grams of protein, and 30% of our daily value of vitamin B12. It's a crucial nutrient for normal metabolism, brain development in children, and mental clarity in adults. Did not know that. So eat a hot dog. It could change your life in a good way. Totally. I'm viewing this as a pro hot dog. Probably I'll have to increase my daily hot dog intake from 1 to 2 based on that interesting fun fact right there. Another fun fact for you. This is straight from the man himself, Octane 93. He calls himself the world's worst streamer ever. You can check him out on Twitch if you're into watching tryhards race pixel cars, seeing how many kids you can have, or demolishing pretend semi-trucks. Octane 93, disappointing tens of viewers most days of the week. And if you're kind of like us right now during all these caution periods, maybe a little bit bored, if you find yourself without much to do on a Friday night, you can join legendary hosts Bill Soupzon, DJ Clark, and Sean Ambrose every single Friday at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time for live coverage of the Skidder Creek Super Late Model Series. This newer series features the Super Late Model Stock Car Racing 200 laps on short tracks all across the continental U.S. The new season began back in March. We're about halfway through it so far. It's been putting on some excellent races. I'm really trying to get myself out there in those races, but I've been being sure if I'm not home at the time, watch them on my phone on YouTube, or just watch them after the fact at some point during the next week.
Hey, real quick, I want to give a quick shout out to Shane Parrish. Started 23rd today, up into 8th place. I know he was pretty deep in the field for quite some time, but he's found himself up in the top 10, and hopefully he can bring it home clean.
Getting ready here to take the green flag once again. Sylvia out in front. Oh, got a little bit of a bump there from Vincent Crowe. I'm not sure he wanted to restart the race right there. And looks like as a cause of it, looks like Isaiah Dupre there got a pretty poor start there with all that jumbledness going on up in front of him. He might be apologizing over the in-car radio there. Scott Eckridge trying to put himself back up into the 4th position. This is where he was before he accidentally got into the back of that Gretz machine in the 17 car. Sent him spinning down into the inside fence and forced Scott to check up and lose a lot of positions. Oh, Jeff Ward got one heck of a run there, and Jake Sylvia as they came off of turn 2. Ward's going to put his car to the inside of the 18 as they go through turns 3 and 4. It's going to be a drag race off the corner. Jeff Ward still holding strong down to the inside. Jake Sylvia resolute on the high side. Sylvia trying to pinch him off, put himself in there shallower on the entrance there for Jeff Ward.
Yeah, definitely. Jeff's going to have to get him more going into the corner. He's going to have to outbrake him just a little bit so they're side by side in the center. If not, Jake's going to continue to get that good turn down on the exit. But we've got a caution on the speedway, guys.
Yeah, the best shot that Jeff Ward was having right there for the last, I'm going to say, 50 laps of this race to try and get down to the inside and pass Jake Sylvia the same way Scott Eckridge was able to earlier in the race. Ended prematurely by a caution. Let's see if we get a replay here.
So again, excuse me, again, I think there was multiple incidents. We ended up seeing Creighton Carter ended up spun around off of turn 4. Then we also got this going on here off of going into turn 3. A few incidents happened. I think the one with Carter that I'm seeing on my screen must have not brought out a caution. Here we go. This is what I was seeing. So here, the caution was actually already out, and it looks like Carter broke loose and had another incident there.
Yeah, lots of calamity going on. Mark Herzog going for a spin as well. He's 24 car Cody Dempster in the outside fence. A lot going on. Michael Krolbach getting tagged just for good measure. Why don't guys, Kenny, we're going to take a second to talk to one driver we haven't talked to all day yet today. One you might not know very well, the one and only driver of the 27 car, Kreikel Mobach, up in the booth with us now. Kenny, take it away.
Hey, Michael, how are you doing now? I know it's been a long race, but and you're in 15th at the moment. Can you bring this thing home?
So yeah, we're big frustrated right now because we definitely had a top 2 or 3 car. That little run that we had that was about 30 or 40 laps. We were pretty even with Rasmus and Jeff Ward up there and Scott as well. So to see them running in the top 4 still and me get taken out in a wreck when people just wanted to overdrive the corner is real frustrating. We got a lot of damage after that. Fell back to 22nd or so. I'd like to get to the top 10 if I can. I don't know if I can do it. Car has a lot of damage. The steering was off. We fixed it last pit stop, but just hard to do anything back here. Real frustrating that we were just pacing the whole time here.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to get your rhythm with all these short runs. But you know, do you at least have full engine power? Do you have the full 2,000 RPMs at least?
Yep, we got full engine power. I think the toe is back to somewhat drivable. The first time I went off in the corner and almost half spun, and I don't know if I caused that caution. There was another wreck ahead of me. That might have been the caution, but yeah, we had no steering that lap. But we fixed it. That's okay now. I think I can drive it. The marbles were pretty bad in the high lanes. I've been trying to make some stuff go up here where I'm driving right now, up in the asphalt part of the corners, but not a lot of grip up there. So we'll see what we can do here. 1 to go. Looking forward to it. And looks like we might see Jake or Jeff win, or maybe Mike. So new winner this year would be good too.
All right, good luck to you, man. Bring it home.
Thanks, Kenny.
We'll send Michael back from where we got him. A little bit of a play on words there. Michael Krolbach, Kreikel Mobach, green flag racing here once again at Martinsville. An exceptional start there from Jake Sylvia. He's going to leave Jeff Ward about a car length back there as they cross the start-finish line. Mike Rasmus and Scott Eckrich now racing for 3rd and 4th position. Oh, caution out once again. That looks like it's going to be the official end of the race.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably going to be the end there. Not enough laps to get back going. We'll see what this caution's for in just a second.
Yeah, I think Shane Parrish just gave a little bit of a nudge right there. And that's what, the 98 round, I think it is?
Yeah, Tyler Graff. Fortunate for Tyler, he was having himself a much better run than where he'll finish for right now. He had been up inside the top 10 for a decent bit of the race, but looks like he'll end up finishing this thing off in 19th or worse. Certainly not the day he wanted to have, but for Jake Sylvia, an up and down day, and it looks like him taking that earlier pit stop.
Oh, we got a wreck under caution here. Yeah, we got, well, it looks like a half wreck.
Celebrate his teammate there.
Yeah, Graf came up and gave Parrish a little bit of his mind there.
And he was disqualified for that. And probably if you're going to get revenge on somebody during the caution period, don't do it when the league admin is right behind you.
That's a good point.
Yeah, just a good rule of thumb there. But Jake Sylvia, it's anymore, it's kind of just I'm not sure what you call this, what the word is anyways, but basically just going through the motions. Jake Sylvia obviously is, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, formality at this point. Thank you, Ryan. It's been such a long day. Started my actual work day at a little bit past 6 this morning, so I'm a pretty tired boy after 200 laps over the course of almost 2.5 hours or so more here. Looks like we're finally going to get the checkered flag here this time by. Jake Sylvia is going to come off turn 4 here and take the checkered flag at the Wall Riders of Joyce 200, presented by Octane 93 on Twitch. So we're going to allow Jake Sylvia a chance to celebrate his win and let iRacing timing and scoring sort itself out. You can see he's already racing the celebratory donuts We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere.
This is the world's premier online racing simulation. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat from your home computer with the most realistic online motorsports experience you'll find anywhere. Race virtually in the world's biggest events with officially licensed series, cars, and tracks. From the high banks of Daytona to the blistering speeds of Indianapolis, the dirt of Eldora to the world's most legendary road courses. It's all here, and with more than 180,000 people just like you already driving, you'll always have someone to race. Ready to get behind the wheel? Sign up at iRacing.com to get started.
Welcome to you to the Chuckles. I'm in danger. 250 can possibly go to the outside. He does go to the outside of Ricky Harden. Tries a slide draft him. Harden goes up the track. Now back down to the bottom. Gets a huge push from Tommy Ryan at the start finish. It's going to be Thomas George.
Running the high line, trying to make that
got
pass.
loose off turn 4.
In the grass goes the 6 car, and they were side by side, 2 by 2 here.
Still Scott Eckler winning the last race of the season and the championship.
Jeff Ward definitely getting the championship for season 2.
Give it up for Thomas George, winning the race in the championship. George overshoots the corner. Scott puts that car just where he needs to on the middle. It's going to be a drag race through the kink. Welcome back to the Wall Riders of Race 200 here at Martinsville Speedway. Just saw the checkered flag fly here for the Pretty Good Racing League. 200 laps around this historic venue, 23 cautions on the night. Jake Sylvia coming home with the checkered flag, his first win in the league and of the season. Jeff Ward comes up so close to his first win of the season as well in second position. Mike Rasmus showing why we gave him the name Mr. Consistency, finishing the race on the podium. Scott Eckridge trying to get his 5th win in a row. It looks like fate will not be as kind to him, just the same as it is to almost every other driver who's got 4 in a row. He'll come home in the 4th spot, followed by Vincent Crowe in 5th. Jordan Harnish in the 22 car comes home in the 6th position, followed by Woody Mahan in the 7th spot. Creighton Carter in 8th, with Shane Parrish in 9th. Jason Galvin rounds out the top 10. Pete Baskins coming home in 11th position, followed by Michael Krobach in 12th. Brian Yazek comes home in the 13th position, followed by Alex Gretz in 14th. And D. D'Ambiose coming home with a solid 15th place position, JR.
Yeah, coming home in 16th place tonight, we have Isaiah Dupre. 17th, Mark Herzog. He was in a lot of that caution action tonight that we saw. Our pole sitter, Brian Greenlee, he'll come home in 18th place tonight. Cody Dempster, he'll come home in 19th. 20th place, Doug Roth. 21st is Safe Ferries. 22nd place was Thomas George, a guy that we saw have a promising run going there and just got into some caution accident late. He ended up 21 laps down. 23rd place was Joshua O'Connor. 24th place goes to Chris Stouffer. 25th, Ron Hart. Clarence Bonner, he'll come home in 26th. 27th place is Tyler Graff. Ryan Rose will come home in 28th, and on last place on the field is Aiden Gretz in the 29th position.
Thanks, JR. Standing by now with our big winner here tonight, Jake Sylvia. Jake, you had this race pretty much well run a lot of times tonight, but it came really close to falling out of your hands. Jeff Ward got himself all the way down to your inside there with about 10 to go, and just before he could get the lead, a caution came out to save you.
Yeah, that's kind of the nature of this racing. I lost the lead originally, the same deal, outside of Scott, and I was, getting him on the outside on exit, and if we were to race back to the line or something, that would have been my lead. Got the yellow and had to restart second, and once I seen that he was at pace still, and there was, we were just so even, there wasn't going to be me getting back up the inside without him making a mistake, so I decided to pit real early, give up the stage win, or a chance at it anyway. give a little bit of stage points and just try to focus on the long game. And it almost bit me there in the end. 112 lap old tires going full push compared to guys on 80 lap old tires is a big difference. So that was not fun, especially considering the long run that we did have. I was on tires. That was the same set of tires as those guys had taken their tires afterwards. So they really only had about, I would say, 20 green flag laps on them in those last 80. So they were definitely at a big advantage on that front, but we were able to do whatever we had to do and hold them off.
Yeah, I'm glad you talked about there that interesting decision you made to come in earlier. Were you looking at basically you're already out of winning the stage and you don't necessarily need the stage points? You're not, inside the top 3, I believe, in the championship standings. Or is that mostly just, might be the first one to make it to the end of the race on fuel if I pit right now?
Yeah, so that was the big thing that I was looking at. All weekend officials, the biggest thing is just track position. So, I spent a lot of time in the trucks, which don't really translate too well here, but I did, I just kind of seen it as an opportunity. If I can pit sooner than they can, eventually we're going to cycle around and I'm going to be back ahead of Scott. So I knew the only way I was going to be able to do anything was have Scott in my review and just try to hold them off for the last 100 laps or so. I definitely wish seeing how it played out, I think if I would have taken 2 or something different, it still could have worked. But the call to get out the stage was pretty difficult because those are pretty crucial points. Scott's definitely running away with it here, so it would have been nice to keep that a little bit closer. But I was mainly just focused on the win, and I knew that was my best chance, was going to be doing exactly what I did.
Well, Jake, it ended up working out for you in the end. Who do you have to thank for bringing home the checkered flag here tonight?
Honestly, everybody up here, everybody that put the show on, and most importantly, everybody that kept on bringing out the yellows in the back. I hope to see a couple people have to miss out Dega next week, and I can keep it clean because I know there was definitely a lot of people that caused about 3 or 4 yellows in that one. So that was the most restarts I've ever had to do. I liked them, but that was pretty rough. So thanks to everybody though. That was fun. Saved me quite a bit. I was saved by the bell there at the end. So that's the only reason why we're here.
To be fair, man, that's how I run my first race in my league racing ever, was just a lot of caution staying up there. So take it, get it. You got the monkey off your back, man. Go get your support. Jake, thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. Congratulations on your win tonight.
Thank you.
That was Jake Sylvia, big winner here tonight. And JR, I believe you're standing by with our second place finisher, Jeff Ward.
Indeed I am. Hey, Jeff, congratulations, man, on that second place run. I know you were hoping for some more green flag racing there, but let's start from the beginning. Talk us through your run through the field with all the action that was taking place. You had to come from 28th place tonight.
Yeah, man, we started deep in the field again tonight, and I tell you what, that's probably about the sickest I've been over a second place finish. I told, congrats to Jake, but I told him, man, you need to buy a lottery ticket because those 8 cautions in a row saved your life there. But yeah, we got beside him. Probably should have finished the deal, but I didn't want to rough him up too much. We had a talk after the road course, and so cleared the air on that. I didn't want to come in here and restart some kind of fight over knocking him out of the way. So I wish we could have raced for it. Definitely had probably a little better car, a little better tires there. Just ran out of time and had too many cautions. We need some green flag laps there.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw you get to the inside of Jake late there on one of those runs, and then the caution comes out before you could get it completely pulled off. I've been there before. Tell the viewers how frustrating that is, especially in a race that just continues to have a lot of cautions.
Well, it's, once I got on this inside, I'm like, I got to get my front end in front of him because caution's going to happen here, at any moment. And from my viewpoint, it looked like he's about a foot or 2 in front of me when the caution came out there. So it was real close. And kind of kicking myself. Maybe I could have drove it in just a little deeper and got that edge. Like I said, I didn't want to really ruffle any feathers out there. I was kind of getting some momentum here, so I didn't want to drive in there and take a chance of taking us both out. And then Scott getting his 5th win in a row. How nuts would that be? But, yeah, we'll take second. Like I said, it's disappointing because we wasn't able to race for it with such a good car. But we'll go back to the drawing board, and maybe next week we can be one spot closer.
Yeah, absolutely. Overall, a great night for you. You've had a little bit of a slow start getting going this season, only one top 5, but the last several weeks you've shown a ton of speed once again like you did in previous seasons. So this second place run tonight, that's going to move you up in the points, probably above the 4 guys that are currently ahead of you. So definitely going to move you up. Talk us about that momentum and how you feel going in the next week at Talladega.
Yeah, well, Talladega, it's not really my thing. It's you guys know, it's just being there at the end and surviving. I come into the season just hoping for a top 5 in points. I knew I was going to miss a handful of races, vacation, things like that. So honestly, man, I want to get through these last few tracks, and in segment 2, I'm gonna make a real push, trying to go for the title and try not to miss no races. Hopefully, we got enough momentum going through the end of this season where we can carry it right into season 2. And go out there and get some wins. I feel like it's been a while now since we had a win, so I'll keep digging.
Yeah, keep digging, man. You're going to get there. You got the speed, absolutely. But hey, before I let you go for tonight, who do you want to thank for that great run?
Yeah, it's thanks to QU Ultralight Honey, Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale, Lexington Brewing Company. Thanks to friends and family out there watching. My girlfriend Katie and I think my buddy Max watching tonight and grouped me on there. So thanks to all of them. Thanks to you guys for doing the broadcast. I wish it was a little less cautious. Could have put on a better show probably there at the end and made some things happen. But yep, we'll get them next week. And thanks to you guys.
Yep, thank you, Jeff, and congratulations, man, on that second place run tonight.
Yep, I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that was Jeff Ward, our second place finisher tonight, and with that, I believe Kenny's now caught up with third place Mike Rasmus.
Well, Mike Rasmus, we call you Mr. Consistency for a reason. You managed to just kind of have these quiet and just consistent days, and you have another one here this evening, finishing in the 3rd spot, and it really wasn't necessarily uneventful for anybody out there. But how was your race?
Yeah, it was pretty rough. I just definitely didn't mean to get into Thomas there close to the end. Just a rough. I feel like he was. I don't know. I looked at the replay, but I can't really decide what was happening. It looked like he was trying to pass Jason, and I was trying to pass him, and it kind of just all got crunched up. Nothing I can really do in that braking zone. You know, when everyone is already full on braking, it's kind of hard to move out of the way even more. So. Kind of looks bad, but I didn't mean to do anything there. But yeah, aside from that, I actually had a pretty good race. Really loved racing with Krobach and Cody Dempster and some of these other people that they race hard, but if you do it right, it can be pretty exciting. Yeah, restarts were tough, and it's just kind of like you restart on the bottom or the top, and have to kind of make your plan based on that, based on where the leader's restarting on the outside or inside. So that's what I did all night, just kind of hung in there. I wanted to grab some stage points at halfway, and then I would make my pit stop afterwards. So that was my plan. I think Krobach and Eckrich and some other people had that same plan. And that's about it. Just rode out the race pretty much. I actually forgot that I finished 3rd, so I had to come back here and make sure I was ready for this interview. But yeah, thanks to you all for hanging in there all race.
Yeah, and then you hung in there as well and gained a decent amount of points on Michael Krobach, who is in 2nd in points. You came in 3rd. You didn't gain really anything on Eckrich, who's leading the points, but that's got to at least make you feel pretty encouraged going into Talladega.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised. There's a lot of people in this league that are much faster than me, especially on a hot lap, and but I like how I'm doing it here, just kind of taking my time, running my race, and trying to learn as much as I can. I don't have that much time to practice, so practice sessions before the race are pretty much what I get, and yeah, I'm really happy where I'm at right now, and I've had a good time racing against a bunch of people this season so far, so hopefully that continues.
So looking forward to Talladega. You guys will go from hitting each other at about 100 miles an hour to hitting each other at about 190. So what are your thoughts on that racetrack, the racing there? Do you have friends that you're gonna look forward to drafting with there?
I'm hoping I'll have some friends. I think we have a pretty big team between a couple teams, and we're all friends. So I feel like some of us like to hang out in the back of the pack at the start of those super speedway races. So I'm planning on doing that. I basically sit on the inside and lose spots, but super speedway racing is pretty. You just need to be there at the end. I think Jeff already said that, but he's right. Kind of just hang out and try to have fun, but don't get too aggressive until it's time to make the real moves.
And lastly, before we let you go, who would you like to thank for the solid run tonight?
Just Krobach and my team, my friends on my team. We have a good time. The racing can get pretty rough. I mean, short track racing's rough, so it's nice to have some people who you can mess around with during cautions.
Well, Mike, it was a solid run for you tonight, and we will see you in the next one.
All right, thank you.
That was Mike Rasmus, third place finisher tonight, and we'll send him back up to Austin.
Yeah, thanks, Kenny. This race was certainly crazy. I don't know if it's crazier than what we'll see next week at Talladega, but in the few moments of good green flag racing that we had tonight, this track showed why it's been on the NASCAR calendar every single year since NASCAR was founded in the late 1940s. But JR, I'm curious to hear what your thoughts were about today.
Yeah, Austin, I think once again we continue to see the guys that were fast and dominating from last year having to deal with these newcomers, and there's continuing to be a little bit of a feuding, a little bit of bumping and banging going on. The big question for me is, will that continue into Talladega? In real life, they always talk about going from the short track to the super speedway. You kind of got to let that go. But on iRacing, there's really no, repercussions from making a little contact on the super speedway. So we'll have to see how that carries over. Hopefully, we do have a cleaner race than we did tonight, because Talladega can really put on a lot of good racing and a lot of fun strategies. But, once again, we're going to continue to see the fast guys from last season having to deal with these new guys.
But the one interesting thing about Talladega is, the unpredictability. And you could definitely hear in the tones of all those three interviews that we just did, all three of those drivers are potential points championship contenders. And all of them kind of were leaning on the side of kind of dreading Talladega a little bit. They just want to get through it and survive and get to the next one. But we will see other drivers in the field that are going to be going for broke. Maybe they're not in the points championship hunt. Maybe they've never won a race in PGRL, and they just want to get that checkered flag or bring home the steering wheel. And that's going to lead to a lot of varying strategies, and it'll come down to the end, as it always does at Talladega. And it'll be kind of what are you willing to try or do when it comes to the end of that race.
Yeah, certainly will. And just like we were talking about the last couple minutes, we'll be back here live next week at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Time, Tuesday, April 25th. So we head to the high banks of Talladega for our second super speedway race of the season. And this Friday at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time, April 21st, BRL Super Late Model Series heads to Martinsville Speedway, this very same track. So the entire camera crew, Ryan Seneker, he's going to be here all week. We got him holed up in a hotel until then. Hopefully he finds ways to entertain himself out here. Lots of cool sights to see, Ryan, so hopefully you're not too aboard. On behalf of myself, Austin Belke, my booth mates J.R. Shepard and Kenny Kibbe, our director Ryan Seneker, and producer Lowell Jewell, this has been a pretty good production of the Virtual Grip Network. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.